Hello people, my name is Rage, and welcome one and all to Hearthstone Triple Legend Journey, and yes, as the name may imply, this season I am going to be going for my third ever legend rating, which means battling it out against the endless onslaught of Face Hunter, Demon Zoo, and mages. And while I do not sit upon a hill of moral goodness, for I have given both decks a go, I do kinda hate playing them. So recently I have been very into Druid. I've only got like 50 wins on Druid across all of Hearthstone. I've never been that big into the class, but there is something very satisfying about literally walling all of the major decks at the moment to death. Hell, it even runs Druid of the Flame as a replacement for Shade of Naxxramas. So this is the deck list that I've been tinkering around with. This started off as a very fast, aggressive Druid deck, and then one by one things have been removed for more and more taunts. So it's become a lot more defensive, doesn't even run the classic Druid combo anymore. So this series is going to be a lot more serious than hijinks. We're of course still going to have fun, but I'm very much going to focus on my actual plays and making the good decisions, which means there might even be some silence. I know, that is quite crazy. So I'm currently 2 stars into rank 8. This Druid deck so far has gone about 15 to 4-ish or so it's definitely not done bad. Opening with Wild Growth is obviously phenomenal, and getting Druid of the Flame is great. So the reason Druid of the Flame is here is because against aggro decks, it is actually genuinely better than Shade of Naxxramas, because that 2/5 can trade all day against early zoo drops. It really can. Also, I'm in the fortuitous position of going second with this hand, both Wild Growths. That's going to come in very handy. So next turn, I'm going to have free mana. We're going to be dropping a 2/5 Druid of the Flame, and we're going to be doing pretty well. Though this definitely could be handlock based on the lack of... Oh, no, never mind. He just simply had an unlucky hand with no 1-drops. So yeah, here we go. We get ourselves a Firehawk, and the Firehawk is pretty damn cool. I'm very tempted to craft golden ones of these, just because fire-based cards tend to look very nice. Obviously, I'm going to leave the egg alone for now. There's not much I can do to this either, but being able to Wild Growth again here is a lot of good value. So we're just going to be attacking his face here, and in fact, being on 6 mana next turn, Druid of the Claw into Ancient of War, into Ancient of Law, and then that was a very... Try saying that 3 times fast. The Law into the Wall, into the Claw. Are you okay? I've just got a lot of Druids. I've got a lot of Druids at the moment, and I'm not sure which ones I should be playing. So, of course, we have ourselves a Knife Juggler that we can be killing. Hopefully it hits this, because it's going to get traded anyway. A little bit upsetting that it doesn't, but it does give us... Ooh, he's actually going to Nerubian Egg it away. He doesn't want me trading into the Knife Juggler. And while that is definitely a sensible decision, I don't know, it seems like he's a little bit scared of leaving it alive for some reason. Kinda really want to draw ourselves some swippity swipes. We've drawn both cards that I've added to counter mages, because remember how I said I've got about 4 or 5 losses with this deck? Both of them have come... Both of them? Yes, both of them. All of them have been from... I'm tempted to charge and kill the Imp Gang Boss, but it just seems a big waste, because if I get juggled and I go down to 1, then I'm just, you know, although I am tempted to charge into the Knife Juggler, and yes, the Imp will kill it, but it does seem better than leaving it at a 4/6, because this can trade summon the Imp, he can Abusive Sergeant the Nerubian and just kill it, which is incredible value. I'd rather guarantee that I at least get some value out of this Druid of the Claw, because otherwise we're going to be having a little bit of a problem. So we'll see. I don't think there's much in it. But yeah, all of my losses with this deck, bar 1, which was 2 Zoo, has come from mages, namely freeze mages. So I've added the Mystic and the Healbot to counter that, but typically we aren't facing a mage right now, so it doesn't matter too much. This is definitely upsetting. I don't know why he's life tapping at the end of his turn. That's a little bit of a play order, but, you know, why am I expecting good play orders at rank 8 Zoo is another question entirely. So we are, of course, going to drop the taunt here. Not that this is going to do much, because he can just trade everything in. However, trading his entire board in for it is pretty good for me right here. So hopefully he doesn't have Doomguard, doesn't have Power Overwhelming, and doesn't have Abusive Sergeant, which sounds like I'm asking for a lot there. And honestly, I kind of am. Ooh, has he got the owl? No, he's going to implosion. Please get two, please get two. Well, could have been worse. Literally, could have been worse. And he's making space on his board, it looks like, because he'd still need to trade away 2 valuable things here, unless he doesn't actually have anything to follow it up with. Yes, we get to kill the Nerubian, this is good, and hopefully we also get to kill the Imp Gang Boss. That makes the biggest deal to us now. The Voidwalker, not really the biggest problem in the world. Is he going to leave it alive, force me to trade into the Voidwalker? That potentially is going to backfire, because what I would have done is Ancient of Law healed my taunt, and then gone for it. But as it is, he makes at least the correct decision. So swipe, of course, would be a lovely top deck here. Swipe this wolf, kill 4 imps, it would be glorious. But as it is, we unfortunately don't get that luxury. So I'm tempted to just draw 2 cards, but then I face a massive onslaught of death. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I technically survive, and because he's got a full board, I'm not worried about him. There it is. And a keeper. Lovely. I'm not worried about him killing me without first sacrificing damage into my Ancient of Law. So I'm going to risk it here for the potential biscuit, because next turn, Antique Healbot on top of a swipe, on top of trading with these 2, could very well turn this game around, and he is, in fact, going to trade, which is good for me anyway, because I was going to do the same. Annoyingly, though, he is getting value out of the imps, which would have been free collateral with the swipe, so it's, you know, it could be better. And is he going to trade in that? That's not the end of the world, because the he just replaces the collateral imp with the collateral abusive sergeant, so that's kind of fine as well. That is a little bit of annoying chip damage. So the wolf is getting swiped, and then the Voidwalker is getting a Keeper of the Grove dropped on, and then we kind of have advantage, which is something we've not had for a while. So this definitely does leave us with a lot of potential here. So we swipe that there, drop down onto this, and now we're kind of good. We've got the heal to follow up and stabilize. We've got another silence / damage to deal. If he finds a way to Power Overwhelming, that is gonna suck. Please just don't hit for 4. I feel like I get very unlucky with implosions. Like, not just in the sense of, oh no, RNG, oh god, and he's going to deliberately Power Overwhelming it to get his 4/4 going. That kind of sucks for me. That very kind of sucks for me. It's a very aggressive move by him. He's wanting blood here. I would love to find myself with some more swippity swipes, because a swipe and then an Antique Healbot on this board, whoa, that would be absolutely glorious. But as it is, I am going to play this and probably the Shredder. Now, the reason I'm playing the Shredder is because these 2 trade with all of the imps anyway. I'm not worried about that. Whereas if I played the Keeper of the Grove and killed an imp, he could kill that for free with the Keeper, and that would really suck. Oh, he top-decked Mal-freaking-Ganis. Well, there we go. And annoyingly, had he not rolled a 4 on Implosion there, he would have straight up lost the game as well. That is such a shame. Because obviously these 2 could have killed Mal'Ganis, and then we have the Keeper to follow up. In fact, obviously we had Big Game Hunter for Mal'Ganis, and we would have definitely stabilized from that point. So that is a shame. And as you can see, I have recently removed the combo from the Druid deck there, because it's still called Warlock combo, because I tried to sneak it in. I like the combo, but I stopped because I found that I was using the combo way too much as removal instead of as an actual finisher. So we want to get rid of Dr. Boom. kind of want to keep the piloted shredder because it's very useful against a priest, and I'm going to keep the Druid of the Flame. And actually, against a priest, I'm going to innovate the Druid of the Flame into 5/2 because it kills an Orcani. I mean, that is technically true, but no, it kills a Northshire Cleric and survives for the next one, and not many priests are running Holy Smite, so it shouldn't cataclysmically backfire like it does have the potential to do. Turn 1 Shredder does have a lot of appeal to me though, but I feel like it's very much all in. Though, is it all in? What's a priest going to do to a turn 1 Shredder? I actually think this is a very sensible decision. He can't power word death it, he can't kill it with anything, even if he wild pyroed. In fact, no, he literally cannot do anything against that. That just gives me a very nice tempo lead on the game here. And also, I can hero power, which fills out my curve on 2. I've got Druid of the Flame for turn 3, turn 4 Sen'jin. It's a very good deck curve-wise. Now, I am very new to properly playing Druid, so I am going to make mistakes. I probably could have played last game differently, but alas, alack, 'tis how it goes. I'd love to Black Knight that, but that's not going to be possible. So what I'm going to do is simply, I'm actually going to play it in Firecat form. I think that actually works out, because assuming he spends his turn to heal the Death Lord, then these two can then trade with it, whereas in the 2 form, technically they both could, but depending on what he does, Velen's Chosen, Lighter than Naru, he could definitely heal this back up to full health, and I can't let him get a lot of value out the Death Lord. I need to make it pull out a big beefy minion that I've got in my deck onto the field, and that's going to give me a huge swing going into this. Okay, piloted shredder, not a big deal. We get to trade. Well, I mean, do I want to trade it that way? I'm not entirely sure that I do. Let's see what we get first before I make any decision. Antique Healbot really sucks there, like a lot. But at the same time, yeah, I'm just gonna... well, actually, no. We are coming up to the Holy Nova turn, so I'm just going to get value on this and trade the 3 mana card for the 4 mana card. That way our board isn't Holy Novable, and this can trade with a fair amount of things. We also got to realise that we are coming up to the Steel, the 6 mana Cable. Now, the annoying thing about Priest is it's kind of good against this deck, because there are a lot of good cards a Priest can steal from me, so I've got to be aware of that. This is potentially dangerous if he's running a way of stealing it, although he'd need a lot more mana to Shrinkmeister then steal it, and you don't really see that these days. So I mean, I'm fairly happy with the board I've got going on. I've got Black Knight, which is probably just going to be a 6 mana Yeti in this game, and then the Ancient of Wars. Even if they both get deft, that's the worst that's going to happen to them, and I've got plenty other things that can get deft as well, so they should be totally fine, honestly. What is he gonna play? That's the question. And the good thing about having both my Ancient of Wars in my hand is that he can't have got them with his Thought Steal there, so that is really nice. Okay, so this is kind of awkward for me, but I think what I'm going to do is that into there, that into there, and then finish it off with my hero power. And then the question is, do I want to use Wild Growth? I think the answer is no. Next turn I have 7 mana, I can play the rest of my hand. An extra mana is going to make no difference for me. What can I do on 1 mana as a Druid? Nothing really. So we're just going to see a played Holy Nova turn, which is good for me because I can drop Dr. Boom without worrying about my Boom bots getting Holy Nova'd. And because we've seen 1 Shadow Priest, I don't need to worry about my Boom bots being stolen either, which is quite an annoying thing that can happen. We are coming up to the kind of mana that we could be seeing the cards that he thought stole, so we got to be wary of this. We got to be wary, but I think we can pull it off. I think we can. Deepity. What a name, Mr. Deepity. I'm just hoping that I didn't... Ooh, that's mine, I think, because it's golden, and the Thought Steal wasn't golden, so that kind of sucks, though I am very, very happy that we've been given an opportunity to get Black Knight value. This is very, very good. So let's kill this, see what we end up with. Hopefully, not Ancient of Law. Sylvanas! Literally one of the best things that could physically have happened there, so this is good. I'm actually also going to use this... Should I use this to cycle? I shouldn't. And the reason I shouldn't, or at least I think that I shouldn't, again, new to Druid learning it, is because he can still play stuff that free damaged for 2 mana is going to prove very useful against. Now, the only negative of Sylvanas here, of course, is that if he has Shadow Word Death, he can eliminate her pretty easily without being troubled by the Death Rattle. But assuming he hasn't drawn it, and priests only tend to play 1 copy, I should be okay. Holy Fire on the Black Knight is interesting. He does have the Shadow Word Death as well. So, there we go. That solves that conundrum. Although, with the Shadow Word Death done and dusted, we now have an even better reason to play our massive 5/10 Taunt. Now, the advantage that this deck does have against Priest, and in fact against most control-y types, is that eventually they just run out of ways to deal with the ridiculous amount of stuff you got going on. So, we're hoping he's only running 1 Death, because that helps us out loads. He shouldn't have any silences. Owls and actual silence doesn't get run as well, so we should have some trouble dealing with this. Imagine 10 mana, double Shrinkmeister, Cable on a Ancient of War. That would be a brutal turn to have happen. Honestly, it would straight up win the game, so I'm glad that that's not really a likely thing that's going to occur. Our friend here is obviously also a Legend player due to his card back, so this is quite the match and a good test for me. So he was running both Deaths, but at least that means both Deaths are gone now, so that is good. This kinda sucks. We don't want him Thorusoning an entire hand, and I do, to be fair, have a way of dealing with this. Actually, Swipe is better, I believe, than running a charging Druid of the Claw in. I also get to cycle that finally, which is good, and I get my own Thoruson, which again is good. I gotta put it in 5/2 form because only Holy Nova is gonna kill it. If I put it in 2/5 form, it gives him the steal of his life with a Cable Shadow Briefs. So this definitely makes more sense. And then next turn I can do my own Emperor, which he can't Shadow Word Death anyway, so that's lovely. This kind of sucks, though. If he's just going to Power Word Shield it, I can, of course. Ooh, Velen's Chosen. I was wondering where they were. They are played in damn near every priest deck, because they are awesome. And then he is going to Holy Nova it away. So, that is a little bit of a shame. But he is low on cards. I've got a good amount of health that I'm not worried about suddenly dying. And I just top-decked me a Silence, which is great, followed by Thoruson. We're going to get some lovely value. In fact, next turn we can play Ancient of War and Druid of the Claw at the same time, which is effectively going to seal the deal, honestly. I don't really know how he plans to remove all this, so we should, all things considered, smack this guy in the face, which is lovely. Power Word Shield, not really a problem. We can kill it with Thoruson. We don't need to worry about the priest being back on full health. We'll eventually kill him when he has nothing left. We beat him into the ground and then finish him off. That kind of sucks, actually. That's a little bit lame. Come on, top deck, my other Keeper of the Grove. Kazan Mystic, not what I want to see. Well, we may as well cycle our Wild Growth for now and see if we can't top deck it. Have I used my other one? I don't think that I have. So the thing to do here is this, and the reason for that is because they have 4 attack. I'm not worried about Sylvanas dying to them without help from the priest, so I should be able to stave off her negative effect for a fair amount of time. Now, Thoruson reducing what's in my hand doesn't actually do much for me, so he's mainly just a 5/5, but you can see how good he is in this deck. If you have a hand full of very big guys, he is going to get a lot of value if you can start flooding the field with them. So the real question is, how's he best going to use his Sylvanas? I mean, technically, Wild Pyro to injure his own Sylvanas and kill a Druid of the Claw and then take, hopefully for him, Thoruson would be a pretty sterling turn, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen for him here. So he's going to kill one, but Sylvanas still lives, which is really the key here. Will follow. That's kind of lame, actually. That's very, very lame. So we're going to obviously do that, which is good. We're going to do this here. And then I'm kind of tempted to just play everything. In fact, thinking about it, okay, if we're going to be real here, if I do this, no matter what gets stolen, if this, it's irrelevant. If it's this, I can just take 5 damage and kill it. If it's this, I can take 4 damage and kill it. So I actually think there's no negative outcome to this Sylvanas. It literally doesn't really matter to me right now. And then I can just play my Ancient of Law and everything should be pretty damn good. I'm also going to drop my Zombie Chow just to finish off Vol'jin if he does fight either of my 2 taunts here. So yeah, I actually think that was a fairly elegant way of dealing with that Sylvanas. What you gonna do, Vol'jin? What you gonna do? It's a shame I have to kill you. It really is. It's also a shame I'm playing Druid having unlocked Golden Shaman, but Shamans are really not good right now. That was a good top deck. Vol'jin is going to be quite a threat right now. He's probably just going to kill that and then heal him, so I'm going to have to deal with an 8/8, which is more than I can actually deal with without sacrificing most of my board, including crippling my Ancient of War. So I'm probably just going to ignore it for now until I draw something else. He is very much trying to decide the best thing to do. That, of course, does make sense. He reduces my damage output and doesn't really take that much damage for it. Getting my other keeper would obviously be great, but I'm going to draw 2 more cards. Finally time to see my Ancient of Law. Ooh, I could Wrath for free, and then that puts him to 5, and then boom boom, and then take 8 damage, but I don't want to take 8 damage. I'd rather simply run him into there, and then just take him out, because he's used both Holy Novas, so I don't have to worry about a board like this being killed by anything. I mean, I could have innovated Kezan Mystic out just to finish using all my cards, but it's just not really necessary. But I guess given that I have seen all the AoE, not Arcani Circle, but not everyone is running that, I could have got away with doing it. But for now, we shall see. Because my 5/5 does survive Arcani Circle, I'm content to kind of put everything on the field, and we should have lethal next turn. But you see how this deck slowly grinds things into the ground, and even against that Zoo with ridiculous Imp RNG, still very nearly stabilized and won. It was a lucky top deck that did win him the game there. So he's probably going to try and draw a Savior top deck card by healing my own guy. I mean, an Arcani Circle here would be pretty cool. And there it is, the concede. Well played, my friend. Well played. So we didn't really move on any stars, but honestly, the main purpose of these videos is just going to be, this is my current progress. Let's play some games. This is the deck I'm playing, and I think we very much achieved that there. So let me know if this is a satisfying video to watch, some more serious Hearthstone from me along those lines. And yeah, let's have a like for some awesome triple legend attempt action, and subscribe for more. Oh, goodbye.